So you're looking to become a coach, but you're not sure if you should be doing one-on-one or group coaching. You're not sure if you should start charging a lot or you should start charging a little. I'm going to break down everything it is that you need to know in order to get yourself started in coaching. But we're going to be real over here. So you might not like all the answers, but I'm telling you, I'd rather you be setting the proper expectation than being so frustrated because things are not working. Because unfortunately, most coaches out there don't make enough money. My name is Bennett Schwartz. I am a performance coach. I've made over six figures as a coach, and I want to share with you certain tips that can be helpful for you. And what's interesting about my story is I don't have a big social media following, or at this point, I don't have a big social media following. So you have to understand that if you are getting started and you don't have a following, you can be making money as a coach. You can be making good money as a coach. However, you have to set yourself up properly. And what we have to realize is, are we doing this because it's like a passion of ours or because we want to run a business? You see, there's so many coaches out there who are incredible people who have incredible skills in order to help other people. However, if you want to be doing this as a full-time business, you need to know that you have to learn the business side of things. And one of the big shifts that I had was after I hired my first coach, he was great in terms of like the stepping stones for my business. But until I was able to join another group where they were actually able to teach me certain business skills like sales, like marketing, all those different things, I wasn't able to really take my coaching practice to the next level. I was able to get a client here and there, and I was able to be, make some money. However, I wasn't able to take it to the next level. And what we have to realize is that if you want to go into coaching, that's really, really nice. But if you want to just focus on the coaching aspect and not the business aspect, I highly recommend finding a successful coach and working for them. That could be a great way for you to get started. Or what you can start to do is you can just start working and slowly building up your practice. You see this a lot in the therapy world where so many good therapists nowadays have been practicing for so long, and just over time, people start and continue to refer them. And that's how they grow their practice, how they can start to charge more. But when it comes to your coaching practice and you're just getting started, if you have not been working with people, if you haven't been in the industry for a long time, in order to start charging a lot of money in the beginning, you really need to start working on your sales and your marketing aspect, because that is going to be a big part of it. And I'll break down some tips at the end of the video, what you can start to do specifically, or just really 2 tips of each, where you can get started to really be able to make sure that you're focusing on building your business. Because just because you're passionate about coaching, which as much as I was, I got slapped in the face after months and months and months of only picking up 1 or 2 clients. And it was really tough for me. The next thing we have to ask ourselves is, do we want to be doing one-on-one coaching or do we want to be doing group coaching? And what's interesting is that there's usually I don't know, a circle, but there's usually like an up and down period about what people want to be doing. And in the beginning, anybody will take anybody. So you're probably going to be working one-on-one with people. But over time, you want to start to scale yourself and say, hey, you know what? I want to be able to work, maybe charge a little bit less per person, but get more people in a group and just be more efficient with my time. And what's interesting is that there's no right or wrong whether you should do one or the other. And you really need to figure it out for yourself. And just like your niche, you might have to constantly be tweaking in the beginning, because like you think you want to work with this specific audience, and then you work with certain people in that audience and you're like, hey, you know what? It's really not this type of person. Maybe it's this type of person or that. And then all of a sudden you start to continuously start to tweak it. And what we need to realize is that if we can start to just move forward and take those decisions and start working with people one-on-one and see how it goes, work with 5 to 10 people. Does it work great? Amazing. And if it's not working for you, maybe you want group coaching. Maybe you want to start a community. Maybe you just want to make online courses. There's so many different ways that you can start to promote yourself and work with people and help people. Maybe you only want to give these presentations live. Like there's so many different ways that you can start to get yourself out there. And I've done them all, and I see which ones have worked for me personally. And that's really a personal choice, because for some people, they just want to stick to one-on-one. For other people, they just want to stick to groups. For others, they want to be working with the community. There's so many different ways that you can go about it. And the only way to really, truly understand which way is going to work for you is to get moving and to get going. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And you can constantly look to tweak what it is you're looking to do, but as long as you're moving forward and you're taking those directions and getting the feedback. If you're not going to get the feedback, then you're just putting and spending money and you're not really taking anything out of it. It could be something that could be really important when it comes, whether you want to be doing the one-on-one or whether you want to be doing the group itself. The next question is, should you be charging high or low for your services? And this is a big question, because when I first started, I actually started pretty high up. And the first client I got was $1,500 a month for 3 months. So it was like $4,500 just getting started. First client, I was like freaking out. It was like amazing. But what I realized was that I was sort of plagued with this $1,500 because I didn't realize the business side of coaching it yet. And whenever I did get on a call with somebody to try to explain to them how I can help them, even if I gave them a discovery call and I did support them, what I realized was is that $1,500 not so many people can afford. There are certain pools of people that can afford that and certain industries that may be willing to afford that. But recognizing that, hey, you know what? If I really want to be growing this thing, I might need to also build the referral game up. And by doing that, it might have been more beneficial in the beginning to start charging a lot less to get more people in, to build more rapport, and to really just build a brand more to say, hey, you know what? Bennett's this guy who can help you with X, Y, and Z. And then they can start referring to other people. And that is something that I found is really could be really, really beneficial. And what I'm doing now with my new program that I'm starting is that I'm actually starting it out slowly, and I'm going to be doing some free stuff. And then I'm going to be starting to charge. And the more you listen to different people, if you don't already have a big brand, if you're already not a known person, starting to get out there and just charging so much money is doable. And you can do it, and sales is sales, and it's usually just a number game of how many people you want to reach out to. But if you're going into coaching and you're just starting, you might not be that type of salesperson unless you're coaching on sales or you're in business or whatever. But understanding that if you want to get into it, it could be something that could be really beneficial to start slowly and then move forward. It was one of those big strategies that I started with when I realized that is that, you know what I have to do? I really have to take a step back and start just working with people for free. I didn't work with them. I didn't commit with them for a long time, but there were certain people that I would have one or two conversations with and show them, hey, here's the support. I'm not going to pitch you anything. You don't have to work with me, but this is more to just show you, get a testimonial. Maybe you can refer somebody to me, because in the beginning you have the time. And what we have to start to do is we have to start building up what it is we want to be doing. And when it comes to the business side of things, like we said earlier, there are massive things that we need to be focusing on. And more importantly, probably for your coaching practice as a whole, and you might not like the sound of this, you need to be focusing on building your business as opposed to your coaching. And both skills I think are tremendous. But as a person who is a coach or somebody who wants to become a coach, you might be inspired already to be reading the books and to be doing the things that are necessary. Or maybe you already have the skills that are necessary to help other people. But when it comes to the business side, you really, really, really need to learn the business side of things. And two big aspects of it are marketing and sales. I want to share with you some tips in each of them. Number one, when it comes to marketings, we need to understand that we have to constantly be getting ourselves out there and providing value to other people. So when you're possibly walking around like I was in a different country and some guy came over to me and was like, hey, are you Bennett Schwartz? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I follow you on LinkedIn and I see your lives that you do every single day. I love them. Thank you so much. And I was like, people actually watch my stuff? Like, that was amazing. It was like the coolest thing ever. But what was interesting is that I had to do those lives. It's something that I started to do. And if you follow any of my content, then you know that doing something like a live could be extremely beneficial. So what I tried doing is that I tried putting myself out there and I tried to just add value. You can add value by creating your own content, or you can add value by going to other people's content and looking to just add value to their content. Not to like steal the show, which somebody one time did to me and it just felt like a little weird, but to say, hey, you know what? That's a great point. This is another idea that I thought about. And if you really add to other people's stuff, number one, it shows you're engaging with their content and they love it. And number two is they might start promoting your stuff by saying, hey, you know what? This person knows what he's talking about. How can I look to be, more helpful in different areas? And then they might start to respond to your stuff. And then all of a sudden you're building the cycle and just building the credibility of who you really are. That can be really, really helpful. The next thing that you want to start to do is that you want to start to ask for testimonials when you work for people, because that is the biggest thing that you can start to do in order to just help people take things from point A to point B. You see, for so many people, they don't realize that they're helping people all the time. And all they have to do is ask them, hey, would you mind just sending me 2 sentences about your experience working with me? And people will write something nice about you. And then guess what? You can use that as a testimonial. And it's just such an easy way, and it's such a small ask that so many people forget to do it. And if you're starting out and you're looking to just work with people, you can give them a 30-minute call or 40-minute call, an hour call, and be like, hey, I'm going to do this for free, but would you mind just writing, your honest opinion about how the call went? And then you could do that 10 times. And then all of a sudden you have 10 testimonials about people who worked with you. And it could be something that could be really, really valuable when it comes to the marketing of you and your specific coaching practice. The next thing you want to start to do is when it comes to sales. And sales is one of those things that you have to realize it's a skill. And this was something that I started to get really, really passionate about and obsessed with, honestly, because I didn't realize that sales was a skill. I thought that I'd be a good salesperson. I'll speak to somebody. I'll just get them to buy my stuff. But what I didn't realize is that there's so much that is going behind the language, the way we say things, the way we set up the conversation, the way we ask for the specific money, even just saying the amount of money. I remember the one time I asked somebody, it's $5,000 a month. Like, they started like, I freaked out inside, and they like laughed at me, and I didn't know how to respond. They literally like laughed in my face, and I just like kept it. And he's like, "Oh, you're not joking." I kept like a cool, calm, collected face. I'm like, "No, it's $5,000 a month." And I didn't get him as a client, FYI. But what was interesting is that it was a great practice for me. And if we could start to put ourselves in certain positions, then all of a sudden we're going to be able to move forward and really understand that, you know what, I can do things. I can learn this skill. I can listen to podcasts. I can read books. I could start to implement things slowly into all the conversations that I have. And guess what? You don't only need to practice this in your coaching practice. A lot of the skills, you could just practice them in everyday conversation, even if you're not pitching something. So it could be something that you could truly benefit from the sales. Hopefully on the channel, I'll be sharing different sales tips that you can start to use in your own practice that have worked for me, but just understanding that you can work on your skill of sales, and that can be something that can be tremendous. And the other thing that we have to realize is when it comes to sales, a lot of people feel just like disgusting when it comes to, I can't ask somebody for money. I was recently speaking to a coach, and they have like a great network and a great body of people that they can start to help and, really charge for it. But they were just like, I just can't do it. But what we have to realize is that sales doesn't have to be this uncomfortable thing that we're doing. You think about it, like you go to a restaurant and the waiter or the waitress comes over to you and asks you, like, do you want to see the dessert menu? So you're like, yes or no, and you check it, and you buy dessert, you don't buy dessert. But that's a sale right there. Do you realize that? Like, you probably don't even realize that. Like, that's a sale. Or if you go to like an Apple store and somebody's like, hey, what can I help you with today? What products are you looking at? Like, that's a sale. So it doesn't have to feel that way, but that's the way that we project it onto other people. So if we could start to just learn the ways we can sell, then all of a sudden it doesn't have to feel like uncomfortable, and we get to help people. And we all know that all those things that we signed up for free, all those events, all those PDFs, everything that we've been doing to sign up for, that we didn't really take advantage of. And we don't realize that the more we pay for something, the more we pay attention to something. And if we can start to say, hey, you know what, I'm really helping this person by having them spend some money, that can be tremendous when it comes to their own growth in terms of getting them the results that they want to be getting. So these are just a few different ideas about coaching and your coaching practice. If you are a coach, if you are an expert, if you are a thought leader, if you're looking to amplify that voice of yours and really make that impact, make sure to take a look at my community down below. It's totally free, and all you have to do is just click on the link to join. I hope to see you there.